What's up? This is Kenny, and welcome. This is probably my first time like doing this kind of like YouTube, like kind of like Twitch-ish kind of like video, and yeah, you found the right video. This is the BOK production breakdown video, and I know that some people, among my 5 fans, you have been looking forward to this video, and you want to know how I made the song. And some of you who already had the idea how music production goes, even though despite the sound sounds kind of like minimalistic in a way, but maybe you have already noticed that there's a lot of tiny details going on and a lot of things going on in the sound design. And I think it's time to finally for me to do a little breakdown, how I made the song happen. And it's not that easy actually. So first of all, this song actually took me around, from starting to finish, actually around 8 months. I know it sounds crazy because during this process a lot of things happened, also, in life and everything. So let me not get too deep into this. My friends always tell me that I have the problem of oversharing. So absolutely not online. So let's keep this for another time. The lighting is so dark, but I think it's fine. So yeah, I made the song. Yeah, first part is a little bit introduction for the song if you don't really know what it's about. So I wrote the song for the first ever demo in last year. No, the year before last year. Oh my god, 2021. The end of 2021. When I finally moved back to Berlin from Bonn, I was studying computer science in Bonn, and I finished. Woohoo! She's a girl in STEM. Yes, and after finishing my degree, I moved back to Berlin. Met a lot of nice people, and I was also challenging myself, getting out of my bubble. But somehow, something happened, and met some people. Somehow, it made me feel like I just suddenly went back to the state where I was having this severe social anxiety. I don't know how to approach to people. I don't know how to talk to people. I feel super shy when I'm out with strangers. It felt like after meeting some people who are like super extroverted, and after seeing them, getting things done so easily, honestly, it's like a very toxic feeling, inside of me that has appeared. I felt like I was jealous. I was very unhappy about why I am not naturally like that. And I start criticizing myself, and it became a sort of obsession, to criticize myself, to really feel like I was trapped. I was depressed. I couldn't poke my own bubble, and I really felt like I was stuck in this water bubble. I cannot reach other people. And it was not good. That's why you saw like on the cover, there is like a water bubble going on surrounding me. That was exactly really similar to what I was feeling. Like, how can I be okay? How can I be normal? Be like other social human beings and reach out to people and make things happen like normally, casually, so easily. Because for me, it took so much energy to activate the little button that to charge the energy, and to practice how to approach to people. So even though I think I'm already much better now, since the fact that I'm doing this kind of like new experimental series in a more collective way. I think I'm getting better and better, but still sometimes I feel like just went back from the teenage years. You have no fucking clue how to approach the people. You feel like you're back in the little room where you only have yourself and your little computer. And yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, talking about the water bubble, the music video also has a lot of water element in it. But I think I'm gonna make another video just to show you how we made the music video happen. And actually, it took a shit amount of time as well. It was really a lot of work and a lot of preparation, a lot of hard work, and a lot of brainstorming. Everything in the video was not just for visual, it's not. Um, Everything in the video was not only, there to look good. It has a solid storyline, and it took us a lot of time to figure out the storyline. And yeah, I'm gonna make another video another time, hopefully soon, because I'm already preparing the next release. Actually, I'm like super slow, honestly, but I just want to make sure that everything goes well, within my capabilities. I want to do things the best, so it's gonna take some time. But yeah, okay. Let's come back to the production breakdown. So I don't really know where to start. Actually, maybe let me just show you the file first, okay? So okay, so here is the project file. It looks really kind of messy. I know. Don't blame me. I am really bad at organizing stuff in general. So for this project, actually, I had so many different developments, so many different versions, and actually, at some point, I thought the song was already finished. I was already already felt like the mix was ready and already sent to one mastering engineer. And in the end, I felt like that was not it, and the mix had a lot of problems. So basically, I went back and forth and really had to relearn how to teach myself how to do sound engineering again. And I still think I'm not really so professional in sound engineering, and the fact that it really requires actually a lot of talents in mixing, and you need to train your ears. You have to really have good ears, and I feel like sometimes people don't really give enough credits to this. It's very difficult to make the demo, to make the production to shine in a really clear way. You want your product, you want your music, you want your songs to sound really good across different devices. You want to make sure that everybody get really similar experiences, not because of a difference of devices. Some you don't want your sounds to only sound good on nice speakers or specific speakers. And actually, I think that's the charm of popular music, or art in general, who's made for a wider audience, because I truly believe in the idea of art should be for everybody. It's not because you're making pop music, you're making a little bit something that's more approachable. It means that your art is not as valuable as those who are making super abstract art. I think I still appreciate their art, and I think that it's nice that they took the time to develop something that's so unique, and maybe it really requires a taste, it requires a background in art education and something like that. But sometimes I just feel like that really goes back to the elite culture, and I'm not a big fan of that, honestly. And I think it's nice that if you have the depth in your work and you still try to leave the gate, the door, in a very at a very obvious position, people who can easily open the door, and if they can choose, they can dive deeper. If they don't want to, or if they don't have the energy, the background knowledge to dive deep enough, they can still enjoy your art at a certain level. And I think that's, for me, I think that's something that I'm trying to do. And I'm not saying that my works are already deep enough, but I'm just saying that I like this idea, and I don't like people who are hating on arts because it's pop, or because it's whatever. A lot of words. a lot of unnecessary things from me, but I love talking to myself. If it's with strangers, I probably like sometimes I get anxious, but I feel actually this feels nice. Like this is I haven't tried doing this before, but maybe I'm gonna start a Twitch, and basically I think I won't have many secrets anymore. Like I'm gonna tell you my whole life story. Let's not. Okay. Let's start the thing. Let's not make this too long. Otherwise, you're gonna lose interest. So first of all, we have the intro. It's quite simple. We have first of all a sub bass. Yeah, like this really simple sub bass. I think it's made with a Logic stock plugin. Maybe ES2, something like that, like something really simple. But I don't have the original MIDI track here because as you see, this is actually a big track with a lot of plugins. So I had to bounce them and go back and forth because my management was also not very clear. Sometimes I thought this track is finished when I was already in mixing stage, but then again I decided that I want to add some more elements, so it just became messy. But maybe some other day I'm gonna make a video just to explain the sound design in the synthesizers if you're interested and if I have time. Okay, and on the bass there's like a really heavenly pad. I really like this. It's made in a FM synthesizer. And we have another pad. Not really like a pad, but like lead or something like that, like this whoa. I really like layering the sound to generate more harmonics to make it sound richer. And then we have another layer of pad. And this is the lead synth, the really iconic intro in a dark water. I think this part of synth really inspired me to, use a lot of water elements in the music video because it just has the feeling of this dark water. That was kind of like the first initial motivation, how the whole story started. So yeah, thank you, little intro. And altogether they sound like this. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my computer's not very good. That's why it's always crashing. I see them talking, walking around me. Yeah, I'm in a bubble for transparency. And you can hear that on the main synth. Actually, I forgot to say that there's like a side chain to it, so it has this like little bounce. Yeah, some little tricks to make your sound more lively. And then we have the verse 1. Let's just go, from upside to downside, because the management is messy anyways. I'm really sorry, and I have no motivation to organize this because this computer is also kind of shit. So yeah, it's gonna crash all the time. Yeah, this is like a little detail. Maybe it's kind of hard to find in the final mix if you don't listen to it on a headphone or something like that. And also I just kind of glued everything together in a mix. And then the next layer is this little glitch I really like. It's also kind of hard to notice, but you know, I just have I love having a lot of little details. It's made from my voice. Yeah. And then what is this? Oh, it's my mon. I modulated it with automation and pitch, I guess. Yeah. And then we have the snares. This is the body of the snares. And then another layer to make the snare more punchy, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, this is like the surround snare. I really wanted to have like this surround snare because that sounded really cool, but you know, when you're dealing with when you're dealing with surround sounds, you always want to make sure there is no phase issue. So here I used modulation delay. This is actually really bad. You know, sometimes it's gonna cause a lot of phase issues, but you know, just always make sure that you check. You know, turn it into mono, see if this is causing a lot of phase canceling. If you find the right parameter, you know, just go with it. Like, I know that you should always, if you just started mixing, you should always do it in mono. That's when, you know, if you do everything right in mono, it's gonna translate well across different speakers, different playback devices. But for me, sometimes I still take care of that, but sometimes I just like to add a little bit more spice. Especially I feel like nowadays, I think most people actually are listening on headphones, you know. And if you're going to the club, which I don't think they play, I mean, I live in Berlin, so they don't play this kind of music so much in clubs. So, and nobody knows me right now. If somebody wants to play my song, I can make a club edition, but I think the mix is okay. You know, it doesn't really cause a lot of phase canceling. So that's the snare and some other layers of the snares as well. And also some glitches in there. Yeah. I just do a lot of layering. You know, some people like to find the sounds, you know, that already click for them. But like for me, it's like I always try to, you know, sometimes I do a little bit too much. But I do like to make the sound really rich, sound really, you know, it has a lot of textures, and I love doing all of the sound designs, those tiny details. It's just, you know, to please myself. Sometimes people don't notice that, but you know, making music, you have to make yourself happy first. So yeah, I love sound designing. And what is this? Oh, it's like this little pop. You couldn't really hear it in the final mix, but it's cute. And then we have the kick. We first have the main kick. I think I made in kick 2. Yes. Sorry, here it sounds really like distorted. That's not how it really is supposed to sound like. That's because I decreased the I/O buffer size to really low, so this track can actually play. So it's, you just get the idea, you know. Oh, now it sounds normal. Yeah, just like really simple kick, but I focused on, you know, saturating the low mid frequency, because that's actually where you can hear the kick. That's actually where most of the energy, you know, is centered in. Because most of the speakers, most of the headphones, they really cannot. Headphones are usually okay, but like speakers, you know, if it's not super like expensive speakers or with the subwoofer, they don't really produce the frequency, the super low frequency below 100 hertz that well. So, like I said, you know, after all, this is still like meant to be published for a wide audience. So you want to make sure that this track is mixed for the wide audience, and you want to make sure that they hear the energy, the kick. So you want to really saturate the mid frequency, the low mid frequency, and that's the base of a kick. And then I have another layer. I think it's for the side. Like, again, I like doing this kind of like side texturing thing. And when you're doing everything, related to mid low frequency, and when you're doing everything in that frequency range and you want to make it stereo, be careful. Like, you can hear that this is not actually really low. This is actually, I think, you can see here is actually still kind of a little bit, I said here, like too low a little bit, but usually, I mean, this one doesn't really have that much low sound either, so I just didn't care. But you really want to make sure that most of the frequencies below 100, 120, or even 200, you want to make it mono, because honestly you wouldn't really hear a difference, because low frequencies don't really give you much a sense of direction. You can test it out yourself. So and if you're panning those sounds that are in low frequency, you are much likely are gonna cause a phasing issue. So be careful with that when you're playing with this kind of like stereo kick, stereo bass, because most of the time they are not really like bass stereo. It's just a mid frequency, with some little tricks. So yeah, this is the kick and the side kick. So you see that now it sounds like really, it's like a round shape, like surrounding you, but it's not really the kick itself that's making it stereo. Yeah. And we have another layer of click. It's very important if you want to make your kick punchy. It's the punchy part doesn't come from the low part, actually come from the mid high frequency. It's like you have this low frequency fundamental part, and you kind of like add like a snare part to it, to make it like really kind of like clack clack clack, and that's where the punchiness comes from. And here I try to kind of like simulate a like a, how do I say it, like a little ball, bouncing around this kind of sounds, because I think it's cute. And here just like a lot of muted bass that I didn't need. And then it's the bass part. So the bass part took me a long ass time, because when I was making this, I realized that my old speakers were like really shit, really inaccurate. It really was depending on my luck, whether the mix is gonna translate well to other speakers or not. So I decided that I want to invest in a new pair of speakers, which I spent a lot of money in, from my luckily I was working then, so I had the extra money to buy the speakers. Also bought a new pair of monitor headphones, but I was not really well adjusted to them, so especially the bass part was really tricky, so I couldn't really hear them properly objectively. Also because I was just too obsessed in making this sound, and I just didn't have that perspective to judge the sound in a neutral way anymore. So it took me a long time to really come back to the neutral state, and felt like this is it. It took totally 8 months. That's just crazy. You could have made an album within that time, but a lot of other things were happening as well, so don't blame me, okay? And this is the bass, the really important bass. Of course, I love doing sound designing, so a lot of my elements, they have separated tracks. Again, we have here first a ultra sub bass, but even the sub bass, I try to give it some distortion, some harmonics, so it gets translated. and another layer of higher frequency on it, so it sounds even more prominent. And this one is also like panned to the sides in a stereo mode, so it sounds really like, really like, I really like white bass at the time. I was really obsessed with this, so I was trying my best to figure out how to make it sound nice. And then we have another layer of bass that's like really, in the middle, and that's really like prominent. Yeah, you can see that this one has like much more mid-high frequency, and you can hear the little salt wave going on. And those are these little details in sound design that can really make your mix sound really rich. It has a lot of layers, and it's not empty. It's very important. Unless you're making making some parts, like you have to have this empty contrast, or this track is in that style. If you want to make a track sound full, you have to have this little layers that enrich, that make the harmonics more rich. And then we have the synthesizers, the really iconic bang 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 bang. Yeah, you can hear that, like the synth. It's pretty much in the mid-high frequency range, because we already have so much bass going on. So I just put a bass, in a higher part, so it doesn't get overlap with the bass, and it creates more space for mastering as well. So because we're still kind of in the loudness war, and honestly, it's very hard to make the mix, to master the track, master the mix at a really loud level, and you still maintain the dynamics. It's a very tricky job. So, and a lot of jobs, to create this kind of like loud master, a lot of these jobs are done in the mixing phase. Actually, you really want to create space. Yeah, it's just again something made from 3 layers. This is the bass. It's made from my voice. I just sampled, put my voice, cut it in pieces. I think it's like more tracks, of me singing one syllable or something like that, and making this like chord, and then I sampled them, so it sounds kind of like a synthesizer. Yeah, but the problem is that it's not punchy enough, so of course I need to add some punchiness to it. Just like, I think it's a kick. It's made from a kick. It's not necessarily a kick, but like when I was designing this song, I remember like I added like a lot of features. When you're designing a kick sound, so you need to have this like fast attack, a little bit high frequency, and you really want to point towards it. And what I'm talking about, I feel like sometimes I'm so bad at explaining things, but please bear with me. And yeah, this is and then the next layer is just some really soft sine wave synth, which makes the sound more, full and more like warm. And then that's I think that's the verse 1. Together they sound like this.
Some functional eyes on my face, I'm seeing through.
Yes.
Nothing's wrong, but I cannot move. Oh, I don't know, and I don't know.
Oh, and I forgot to show you this part, which is like a transition part. When this like verse 1 is over, it has this little pitch modulated kick. Boom, boom, you know. Never mind. You can hear it. You can listen to this on yourself. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. If you're watching this video and you haven't listened to, be okay. Hey, come on, we can do better. We can do better. You know, help me out, please. This is embarrassing. I mean, this is not embarrassing. I appreciate every one of you, but you know, we can do better. Yes. And the next part is the chorus one.
Can I be okay? Can I be okay? Can I be okay? I wanna fade away. How can I be okay? Can I be okay? Can I be okay? I wanna fade away.
Yeah. It's quite simple, this part. First you have this like kick. Oh, no, this is not a kick. I'm sorry. This is the bass. Exactly. Still stereo. And then you have the bass part is the same as before. And then you have this subtle kick. Not really loud at all. Just like it just gives you this like little dynamic going on. You know, it's like you're floating on the water, like ta ta ta. This kind of vibes. You know, this kind of like really subtle floating vibes. And then you have just here is like some textures of me breathing. You know, just some little details to make the soundscape more interesting. And then what is this? Oh, this is the synth. And this is the vocoder. You know, the synth alongside with the vocoder is gonna make it sound more like pleasing. Yes, iconic.
Can I be okay? I wanna fade away. How can I be okay? Can I be okay? Can I be okay? I wanna fade
away. And the next part is the instrumental break. First, here is like a transition going to the instrumental break. I made with the Logic stock plugins, just some drums. Sounds really cute. And we have this like rising sound. Yeah, I used a pitch modulation on it, you know, so it has this like kind of like a weird like sound, but it's really cute. And then I have a little analog sounding bass going on, you know, has this like dum 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 dum. Yes, exactly. So, you know, a lot of little details that really cost me so much time. But you know, I'm happy with this outcome. But if you like the song, you know, let your friends know, let your lovers know. And then we have instrumental breakdown 1. First of all, kick, that's the same thing as before. The kick is not difficult. And then let's go with this one first. This is just like a synth glitch, you know. Yeah, just something. This is actually in verse 2, I'm sorry, but it's here, so this is the part, you know, for no pressure on me. This part, this is just some glitch noises to make it sound interesting. And then we have the bass. This is the same as before, sub bass and distorted bass. And then I have this, I think this is also like a synth. Even more layers of bass. Because I remembered when I was making this part, it always just felt empty, you know, and I was like very conservative with the bass at the time. So in the end, I figured out that I should add more things, you know, in the mid high frequency to really, you know, pump out the bass. And because before I was worrying that if I use too much synth here, it's gonna cover this iconic vocoder sound, you know. But in the end, you know, after I finishing it, I let it set for a few days, and I came back to listen to it, and it sounded perfect. You know, sometimes you have to let yourself rest after finishing a song, because when you listen to it for like 1,000 times, you just don't have the neutral opinion on it anymore. You know, you have to let your you have to free your mind for a few days and then come back. And then we have and that probably some boom, like simple sine wave synth again to, you know, make this part really, you know, has energy, doesn't sound empty. And then I love this little guitar, you know, guitars not sweeping. What's the word? Like, you know, it's like, I don't know. Just listen to it. Hey. Pop, 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 pop. Did you ever stream my songs? Huh? Yeah, it sounds really good. And again, you know, those little details are actually adding a lot of souls to your songs. And then we have, what is this? Some white noise. Again, some details. And then we have already introduced the breath. And then we have, I think now it's finally like, you know, the sound design for the iconic ow, 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 ow. It's essentially, it's actually my voice. I think maybe it's this one. This is the fundamental one. You can see the, you know, I had to pitch this section. Yeah, and then you have some other layers to it, some other variants. Yeah, this is like a layer of synth of exactly the same chords to make it more multi-dimensional. And this is another layer of synth. Yes, kind of like more like bass already is sound to gives it to give it the fundamental frequencies. And then I think this is another layer of vocoder. Yes. And some more synth layers. And another layer. You know, this one is more focused on the high frequency, and you know, after you can tell the difference. You know, you want to make the mix bright at more high frequency. This is without it. With this one, it's just really, it's it's like it's here, you know. And then you have, what's this? Ah, this is like this like transition synth. And then I think that's it. Yeah, this is the iconic vocoder part. A lot of layers of sound design, and we have, I think this is the percussion. Boom, boom, boom. I think this is actually, yeah, this is just some stock plugging. The Logic Pro, it's from Logic Pro stock sampler. I was just being lazy. Some metal snare. This is made. I can tell this is made from the Logic Pro stock FM synthesizer. The really simple one. The Sophie jumping out from the track in this track, you know, my ultimate inspiration. But you know, really sad. And I'm really happy that I got to learn all those techniques from PC music and the early stage hyperpop, and now I'm using them in more of my own style, trying to explore my own subgenre. And you know, there's I'm working on a long project, and BOK is kind of like a baby between the more old Keny Chan style and the new Keny Chan. It's kind of like somewhere in between. And you can, after the new songs come out, you know, maybe in a few months, you will really see what I have in my little box. I would say that, you know, they sound really Keny Chan, and I'm really proud of them. You know, the unreleased songs, and they sound good. They sound really different, but it's still, you can tell, you know, I made them. So yeah, if you're already here watching this, I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for you. I'm really grateful to have you listening to me, and let's see how far this journey can be. And I really love connecting people, you know. That's why I make music, you know, so we all, especially myself, can feel a little bit less lonely. And this is another layer of snares. Ta. This one has more punchness to it, you know, brings out the body. And we have some clap used together with snares, and then we have some cymbals, hit hats, really not so loud at all. I don't want them to take over the vocoder. And then we have some really hard hitting sounds, and this is the body of it, and some more of them. Slay. And then actually I think that's that's it. The percussion, the drum part. Then let's go to the next part, the verse 2. No pressure on me. Let's just start here. You know, there's like already some tracks here, so I really like this kind of like this little noise here. Dun, dun, dun. You can hear this in the final mix. It's quite obvious. You know, in the music video, it's like when my shoes was, you know, rubbing against the floor, and actually the sun is actually taking from, you know, some samples, you know, in the basketball playroom, and I just think that, you know, it sounds really interesting. You know, how the shoes rub against the floor and makes this little cute sound. I don't play basketball, but I grew up watching them play because I'm gay. And I was insecure. I'm still insecure. I'm still not very comfortable among a lot of straight boys. So I don't know how to play basketball, you know. I don't know sports. I just sometimes go to gym for the superficial part. Okay, stop here. And I have the tendency to overshare. Okay, but I mean, I love being real. There's nothing much to hide, Sooner or later, you will know everything about me. No shade, no fucking shade. And let's come to verse 2. Already told you about this little glitch here, and actually it's kind of basically the same. Yeah, it's basically not so difficult, not so different. Is it? The lighting's still okay? I want to make sure I look pretty, Hee. Because let's be honest, why? How come nobody wants to date me? Okay, stop here, Keny. Stop here. This is not the video to talk about this. And this is how it sounds like. Exactly silent. Okay, anyways, please, it's right here. Click it, listen to it, save it. If you like, stream the music video, it's fucking good. If you don't know about them, I don't know why you're watching this. Mood, you cannot just come here and learn the little details, the little techniques that I use, and don't fucking stream my music. Who's gonna pay my fucking bills? I don't want to do programming until forever, I like computer science, but I don't see myself sitting in the office doing that shit forever. Please, I want to make music. I want to make arts. Okay, and we have the chorus 2. The chorus 2 is like a little transition. Actually, I used it. I made it really like simple. To I basically in my songs I always love to design this little. I love different sections, Basically, my friends always like you put like 3 songs, 4 songs in one song, but I think that's kind of like my style sometimes, especially when you listen to Desertland, which came out 3 years ago. It's very, my taste. But BOK is like definitely so much more cohesive, and it sounds really like all together. And this part, I before, of course, when you wanted to be lazy, you just wanted to repeat this, but then I was like, what about I make a really dramatic outro, so this part has to calm down a little bit. And this is also, we're in the train station, Keny meets another Keny, so this part kind of gives the visual a little bit more space as well. And this part is not really so complicated at all. We just have some bass, kind of like an e-guitar-ish bass with some delays. It's not really bass, and some sub bass, and some electronic cello, stereo, and some white noise I made myself. It's kind of like rising up. You cannot hear it here. Fuck it. Anyways, it's probably glitched. Sometimes they don't play all. The computer doesn't play all the tracks. So that's also why it was a pain in the ass to make this track. I need to get a new laptop. And here we have another version of Moan. Yeah. And then we have some, basically the same elements repeat, some snares, after this little silent part. Like here is like a little bit more things going on. And you have this part where everything, has this rising up part to transition into the next mental breakdown part, and you have this little harmony going on here. And yeah. Yes, that's it. Oh, and I forgot to show you the harmony of verse 2. I think they sound really beautiful. In the final mix, it was not very prominent, but I really like how they sound. I like harmonies. Yes. Stacking up the vocals. And then the most iconic part. A lot of iconic part in the song, actually. And that's why you should stream that shit. And basically, actually, a lot of parts in this, a lot of tracks in this part is just repeating, except it's like it's using the same percussion, drum, and kick. And let's start with the most iconic vocal guitar. This is made from my vocal, totally destroyed, pitched to make it sound like electronic guitar. And then it's sidechain. You can see here to give it dynamics. Sidechain is very important in electronic music production. And then we have the snares with a lot of reverb. To really create this like space, like you're in the middle of the room. And then we have the transition sound, like a explosive sound, but only in a high frequency range, because in the low there is like already like a lot of things going on, so you want to keep the space for the energy for the bass. And we have some little textures, some birds. You see these little details. And then we have some vocal glitches.
Be okay, be okay, be okay.
Actually, this part could have been fun if I didn't make it so quiet in the final mix. It could have been like TikTok viral sound, you're gay. Okay, stop. Yeah, I'm so funny, please laugh. And then yeah, this is the bass, the side bass again, and the sub bass, and some pads. And together they sound like this. Yes. Basically, actually, until now, all the tracks, all the elements, all the parts before was kind of like this, like really bouncy, dynamic vibes. There was like always a little space after the punch. That's the whole vibe before this part. And then in this part, the mental breakdown, everything is just like so consistent, like goes all the way down. And this contrast really, builds up the tension, builds up the explosive emotion, because this song is about, me being toxic, criticizing myself about not being normal. So this is kind of like, you know, I've had enough, and I'm having my mental breakdown section. So yeah. I love this. A lot of reverb, a lot of delay to create the space, and I sounded good there. Despite that, you know, at the very first live, and actually the only live for this song, I fucked up this note. Actually, in the practice, I was doing pretty fine, but when the audience came, I was too happy, honestly. But anyways, the vibe was really good. People liked it. So let's see when am I gonna perform again. And then after this is the repeat. It's just really distorted.
How can I be okay? Can I be okay? Can I be okay? I wanna fade away. How can I be okay? Can I be okay? Can I be okay? I wanna fade away. How can I be okay?
Woo! That's it. That's the breakdown. That's the mental breakdown. That's the production breakdown. It's been 1 hour here. I don't think I'm gonna cut the video. It's too much efforts. So for the girlies who watched until now, thank you, and I hope you liked it. I hope you like, you know, the breakdown, and I hope you liked my song, and I hope you can stream them, and yeah. See you soon in the next behind the scene video, hopefully soon. And yeah, this is Keny. This is Keny Chan, and this is the BOK mental breakdown video. And see you soon.